Hi, welcome back to my corner of the internet. Today I am going to show you how to do the technique I figured out to block my acrylic items. And I do a fair amount of stuff in acrylics. It's not generally what the patterns originally are using, and sometimes you get lumps and bumps and whatever. The pattern, you haven't made a mistake, it's just the different in the tension of the yarn or what it's made of, whatever. I've figured out how to do this and it works and it is permanent. That's why it's called kill blocking, because once you've done it, you don't need to do it again and you also can't change it. So make sure you're sure that you want to do it. Anyway, this is what I made this recently and I'm going to show you on this little jacket how I do it. And you don't need many equipment, generally stuff you can find around the home. So let's get into it. So here we are all ready to go. This is a baby jacket I made, and I'll put the link to this pattern in the description. But I made it with an 8-ply acrylic that is a bit thicker and harsher than the one that the lady used in the pattern. Therefore, I'm getting some bubbling here at our decreases. We've got a little bit of waving on here and a bit of bubbling here at the back decrease, and that's what we're going to fix with our blocking today. There is a few different ways you could do this. You can do steam blocking, you can do pin blocking. I like to do kill blocking because if you steam acrylic, it'll be fine for your photos, but the first time you wash it, you'll have the same problem again when it dries. So when I do kill blocking, that's it. There's no coming back from it. That's why it's called kill blocking. It is permanent on acrylics. It is only really used for acrylics, and the reason why is we use this stuff here. Now this is stuff called Rajah cloth, and it is actually used in tailoring. It's mainly used by dressmakers to put permanent pleats back in synthetic fabrics. And what we can do is we can use this on acrylics because the permanent pleat chemicals are infused in the material. So first of all, I'll take this out just so I can show you. Comes in this pack. This is the brand I can get it in. You may be able to get it in a different brand, but you're looking for it to have chemically treated pressing cloth for permanent steam ironing. Okay, so it's a big piece of cotton. Yes, I have used this a little bit. Need to use it the other day. That's why it was open. But it has this printed on it on one side only. All right. So what you've got to remember, this always has to be visible. That way the chemicals are actually imprinted on the back of it. So you lay this over your work and you steam through it, which will push the chemicals into your work that you're trying to block. And you also need a form of liquid on it to push it through, because this is dry, of course. So I use this, which is just a gliding. It just helps you iron. You can use water. I have used water. I do like this because it gives a nice finish and nice smell to it. You know, it's not imperative, but you do need some kind of liquid. And you also need, and I'm going to be careful because it's on, a handy dandy iron. This is just a basic $20 one from the shop. It's not a fancy iron at all, but it does need to have the steam function. So let's get set up and I will show you how to do kill blocking with our Rajah cloth. So this is my item that I'm going to do. I'll put my Teflon ironing sheet down. This is the greatest thing I've ever made. Means you can iron anywhere. It's really only for craft ironing. It's just some Teflon material with a bit of cotton wadding and an edge on it to keep it nice. So we just put that down. Now, first thing with blocking an acrylic is you do not want to do it on the good side. You want to do it on the inside. So we turn it out. You also generally never kill block anything that is textured. So if you've got like lace work and stuff like that, don't kill block it because you will lose all your textures. All right, just pull that out first. We'll do the back first. Now, we are steam pressing. We are not steam ironing. What's the difference, you say? The difference is how you use the iron. Right, so the first thing I want to do, I want to get rid of this little bit of bubbling here. See, it's pinching up. I want this to be flat. So we get our Rajah cloth. We make sure we can see the stamp. You can use any part of it, but you've got to be able to see the stamp. Let's get that out the way. Now, we only want to wet where the bubbling is. So we don't want to wet the whole thing. So we get our spray. Just a little bit. Now, I am not going to use the whole iron. I am not pressing down either. I'm just using the very tip of the iron. I don't know if you can see, but I am only not using the full weight. Right, I'll just do a bit and we'll have a look. Right, that has flattened down. Hopefully you can see it. Yes, you can. So we've lost that bubble there. What it's done is pushed the chemicals through to the back of my work. The other side doesn't look any different. This is what we want. We don't want to make it look like a melted mess. So there's a bit more bubbling up here. Let's pull it down a little bit so you can see. So we still have a bit of liquid left in it, so we don't need to add more water. We only use the very tip of the iron, and it's got steam on, so it's shooting the steam through, putting more of the chemicals where we need them. Right, that's better. That's now flat. Other bit I wanted to do on the back was the points. I don't know if you've noticed, but when you put, because this is zigzag, the points curl a bit. So we just try and flatten the points out. Get our Rajah cloth, find our label. So I'm just going to lay it over. Now I'm just going to do the points. So we just wet where the points are. Not wetting the whole thing. You don't want to kill it. Well, you do want to kill it, but you don't want to overkill it. It's not a case of if it's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. We want to just do what we need to do. Right, so if I lift them up, they're not curling anymore. And they will stay like that because it's a chemical pleat. Because we're dealing with synthetics, we might as well deal with the way you deal with synthetics. So now we've got a curl here and a little bit of a curl there. So we will use this bit of wet that we still have here. Can you see that? Yes, you can. You can just see it through so you know where to put the iron. Just a little bit. I don't need to add water until I don't have this wet patch. And then we want a little bit here. If you wet the whole thing, what will happen is you'll flatten out the whole work. Yes, it'll be the same, but you will lose any residual stretch that your fabric had. I might as well just do this little bit here. Make sure we're up the right way. Lost it. There it is. All right, just here. And just do that little corner there. All right, so that's all those bits. Bring it back over. Now, the next thing we had was these little sleeves. They're buckling a bit here. Can you see the waving? We want to get rid of that. So, still working on the inside. Lay it flat down. Put this back. Make sure it's the right way. Now, I want to use this corner. This corner is dry. So we just wet along where it's going to be. Now, because this is the biggest bit, I'm pressing it. So I'm just holding it over. Can you hear that? Hopefully you can hear the steam shooting through. I'm not putting any weight on it. Let's see how that's gone. And that is now flat. Pretty much flat. I don't want to overdo it because it does look weird if you overdo it. Right, so that's that. I might put a little bit in the center of this one just to flatten that bit because it's the front. We want it nice and flat. Right, that's done. And the sleeve. Now, I don't want to go down here. This is the underarm seam, but the thing is, if I put a chemical pleat here, it'll tuck to the inside when it's the right way out, and that'll look weird. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do both sides of this sleeve. And the more protection you have, the better. Now, make sure we're the right way. Yes, we are. what's happening with this is it's bubbling up here and here. So we just want it to lay flat. I don't want to do this seam because we want that seam to go up rather than in, and because we're inside out, it'll do the reverse. So we just go a bit of wet, and then we shoot our steam through the Rajah cloth. I'm hovering above. I'm not pushing down. Do not push down. All right, I think that would be enough. Yes, it's nice and flat. While it's still hot, you can pull the edges out a little just to square them up. Yep, now we'll do the other side. And lay it over, double check that everything's right. I still have a wet patch here, so I don't need to add any more water. Just hover over it and shoot the steam through the cloth. Now I'm only going to do these so I can show you the difference between the two sides. Pull that out so it's squared off a bit. Alright, so we've done that. So now what I'll do is I'll turn this out so we can see the difference between one side being done and the other side not being done. Lay it down. See, you look at this side, we've still got it buckling and curling here, whereas this is nice and flat. You can still see the nice stitches. We haven't melted them, which a lot of people reckon, oh, you can't put heat on acrylics, it'll melt. If you're careful, you can. Our seam is still at the top. We haven't blurred our seam. The only thing there is that. I did get a little bit, but I didn't specifically hover over that. I may come back to that later, but that is one side done, laying nice and flat, as opposed to this side, which is all still buckled up and done. So that is kill blocking, and I can wash this and this will stay the same because it has the chemicals in it. This side, I would have to steam it every time I wash it, and I don't want to do that. I'm too lazy. So I just do this one. And that is how you do kill blocking. You just find yourself some Rajah cloth, a home iron that can do steam, and a bit of water. And that's kill blocking. If you like this video, please like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.